Hello and welcome to Retrotainment Recast. I am back here in the judge's seat. We've seen the end of a streak when the Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker. And then very recently we've seen the end of another streak when Carl Sherlock beat Carl King in the last episode. How do you
I'm not
feel?
saying it's going to continue. I'm not going to say it's going to continue. I'm really happy with my cast here, but I went a certain way with all this. But all I can say is I'm happy that streak is over. My Lord, that went on way too long.
I think that
Yes, you
is
must have been about 3 months into pregnancy when that started.
It's
been a while.
just been a while. It's been a while. My little lad wasn't born, so I mean,
it does start taking a toll on you as well. Like in your head, you're like, how could you're
How do
like,
I change this?
I really need to win. So you start questioning. You settle down with a pick, and then you go, well, I think that's a good pick, but the lads haven't liked any of my picks for the last while, so I better change that again. And then
you're trying to play the judge rather than the game.
Yeah, you're.
But in the last one, the one that I actually won in, I don't think I actually played the game. I think I just went with who I wanted, who I liked, and it worked.
I mean, I was the judge of that. It was a very good episode, the Sleepy Hollow episode.
Yeah.
No,
a solid episode. That was one that I put forward for you boys to do, Sleepy Hollow, because it had come up onto Netflix and I'd rewatched it and I was like, man, what a film Sleepy Hollow was. I forgot how good it was as an actual film. No, and a great episode, obviously. And we get to see Greg take on Carl here.
I'm coming back for that title, boy.
You
better split shine that title. I'm coming back.
One that we've had in the pipeline for a while here.
It was supposed to be a guest episode, but
we were going to do a guest, but it kept falling through. And then we said, right, well, we're going to do it. It was always a thing of we kept putting this one off because it's so tough to do this one.
Well, when we say it was tough, all the supporting cast I found it easy to recast. Shaun and Ed.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But they're the two boys were synonymous with each other, do you know?
Yeah.
I mean, was it 3 or 4 movies they done together? 4 at least.
The Cornetto trilogy.
They did a Cornetto trilogy and Paul.
And then Paul, yeah. And like I know that's only 4 films, but like those
they're a duo.
From Shaun of the Dead, these two were a duo. You know, you thought of Simon Pegg, you thought of Nick Frost. Now they
did TV together as well, didn't they?
I think they did, yeah.
I think so.
Spaced. They did Spaced, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they've split off recently to do their own things, and that's great because I
think they're friends again now as well, though.
They are friends, but they've split off and they've done their own things, and we've seen very different roles from them in recent years. But yeah, I do agree. It's very, very hard to do those two specifically.
19 years ago, this movie as well, lads.
Yeah.
2003, Jesus Christ.
flown by.
I remember going to see this in the cinema.
I don't think I've seen this in the cinema. I think the first time I seen this was at home, and I just
God bless Bray Cinema.
And here's the thing: don't stop me now. I don't know about you boys. Can't hear it. Can't hear it without literally in my head every time I hear that song. Forget Queen. Forget about everything else about how great that band was. Nope. It's a load of lads with pool cues bashing some lad who's not falling down. And he's like, they're not bashing him hard, like, because they're not even like swinging them massively. It's just kind of tapping them on the back gently, just as they walk around in a circle. That's all I ever think when I hear that song now. I'm like, oh yeah, do you remember when they did that in Shaun of the Dead? Which just shows you how great this film was, because it's hard to make people think of something else when they're other than obviously Flash Gordon, because that was the theme song for Flash Gordon. But no, Shaun of the Dead, a tough one here for you boys. How are you both feeling about your lists?
Not too bad.
I'm happy with my list if what I've done works. I'll say, because I'll just say it here. I may as well say it because it's the way I've recast everything in this. I went as it is Shaun of the Dead, and they did it in the original. I went with a full UK or Irish cast.
Okay,
which made it more difficult for me to recast it because I was trying to find the right person for it. And I'm pretty happy with, I'd say, 6 of my 7.
I haven't gone full English. English and Irish and whatnot. But there is quite a few that would be English-based actors and actresses throughout my list as well. So
I like these ones. Maybe we should put some stipulations on the odd shows here every now and then. Throw in the odd stipulation that we need to do. It can be challenging. Just mix it up a little bit.
Maybe if we see another reign like Greg's at some point, we'll start putting stipulations like that in. Although
we'll never see another reign like that.
We may not need to see another reign like that. But no, we'll get started. And as always, we'll start. If you boys want to just send the picks in there to in case there's any matching picks.
I imagine there will be if we both gone
full English or UK.
I have both lists there. We will start as always with our current champion, which for the first time in a very long time is Carl Sherlock.
So good to hear.
And it's gone.
I'm just going to bask in it now.
I suppose the smallest character here in terms of the film, not in terms of size, is Pete. Pete's a pretty big guy in physical stature, but in terms of this film, very small role. So we'll start with him. So go ahead, Carl.
Perfect. My backup here, and it's because I went with the size of it. I went with Greg Davies, and I was just like, he's too old for it because he was.
I was about to say, what?
I am going to say I'm glad that you said that was your backup, because if you'd said that was your main, I'd have said
I would have lost. Yeah,
way too old.
Like he went to school with Shaun and Ed. You hear them say it. So I was just like, nah, I can't go with that. Even though he suits the role, I could see him doing it, and it would be very funny. I might have gone with someone that was not as physically imposing, but plays the arsehole kind of the way Pete was.
Yeah.
I went with Tom Felton.
Might as well line that up a 1-1 then.
I'll just
see when we were doing the intro and stuff there, and you could hear me going, "Oh shit." I forgot to write them down on my list, so I changed it. Literally wrote it on the list, and you can see me carve out Jack O'Connell because I went big, and I was like, "Do you know what? No, fuck it." And
I can confirm.
I even had to Google his name because I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah, no, I can confirm the two boys have gone Tom Felton. I'll tell you is that I had Tom Felton as a backup, and the only reason I stepped away from him was due to the physical size. But it's not something that's referenced in the film. They never make the point.
They just say he's a dick.
The thing is, they say he's a dick, right? He's not a dick. You know, they're both.
We'd all be Pete.
Yeah, like they're both mooching off him. I know Shaun works, but they both mooch off him. And he eventually just gets a bit annoyed. And he said, "Can you at least just close the front door for fuck's sake?" And you're like, "Yeah, that's not that big a fucking request. Can you close the front door when you come inside at nighttime? Not that big a request. You know, like I learned that when I was a child.
That's a sane request."
Yeah, I mean, he's the dick in the film, but in reality, no, he's not a dick. I went with someone. This is one of the few I went with where it wasn't an English actor. Although I don't know if Peter Serafinowicz is technically an English actor.
I think he's Danish.
I know he lives in England. I think he's Polish. I only think that because I remember. The only reason I think that is because I remember watching a comedy show and they said we in the poll we put up a poll and asked this, or we asked a poll about this, but it was his grandmother, and he was on the show. So that's the only reason I think
he was born in Liverpool.
Okay, fair enough. No, maybe like that. You know, just that surname is not a British surname.
No, it's not.
There's not many lines or anything in this, so I went with someone who has that physical size, and has the comedy chops to him as well that you'd need to have to be allowed to come into a film like this. I went with Jason Segel, who's someone we have used before, possibly a bit too big of a name for this. But
I'd say too old as well.
He's 42, right? So that is a little bit older, but I kind of thought Jason Segel doesn't look like he's in his 40s, you know, and the rest of the guys are in their 30s. So you could kind of like just say he just looks that little bit older because he's had a more stressful life or anything. Do you know what I mean? But no, Tom Felton is a perfectly fine choice, and as the boys said,
he's a fucking dick.
He is. He's very good at being the dickhead. No, brilliant choice. And as I said, I had it as a backup myself. So that's 1-1. Bodes well for king anyway, or not king, sorry, Carl. Too many Carls now. Bodes well for you, Carl, because it's already at 1 point on the board for you that Greg can't get.
Next Carl that loses is out.
Yeah, that'll have to be it.
Champions advantages going in my favor this time, maybe.
Yes, maybe.
Well, I mean,
as
you said, you picked all UK and I picked all UK, so there's going to be a high possibility there's going to be more draws in here.
There could be.
Maybe.
I think our next smallest one is maybe
probably
David.
for Liz. David. Okay.
I think David's probably the next small, isn't he? He's
he would be. Yeah.
So
Dylan Moran.
Yeah, be yourself first.
Meets a grizzly end as well.
Yes, he does.
Probably the most grizzly end. But it's to yourself first, Greg. Who have you got?
Obviously, he's an Irish comedian by trade. He plays an arsehole. I went with Rob Sheehan.
Rob Sheehan, yeah, okay.
Carl has him as well by the looks of it.
Well,
Fuck.
Rob Sheehan and
Fuck.
Rob Sheehan, yeah.
Well, that plays him to your advantage now, because now I don't have champions advantage. So you're all right.
No, you do. No, you do, because those are all points that Greg can't win now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it always.
You need three from here.
I actually went a different way. I used another British actor, but I went a little bit different. I went with the kind of. He has to play like this jealous. He's clearly in love with Liz the entire film, even though he's going out with somebody, but he's clearly in love with her. So I kind of went with someone who's played a role, not exactly like that, but had a bit of a fixation on somebody. I went with Joe Thomas from The Inbetweeners.
That is, I didn't watch it.
During The Inbetweeners, he has a fixation on one of the girls, and then he ends up dating somebody else, but he still always has the same fixation. And I think he would have worked well there, but both solid picks there. So it's back to you, Carl. This could be a quick episode if we keep matching.
Might be, Jesus.
If this goes 7-all and a draw, I quit.
Philip, I guess, is the next smallest.
Philip or Barbara, yeah.
Philip would probably have been the biggest actor in this.
He was
probably the biggest actor, but I would say, like, in terms of the role, it's Philip or the mom.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do one or the other, so I'll go with Philip first, and then we'll go to Barbara.
Bill Nighy originally. I went with someone there. Look, Bill Nighy, he comes in and he uses looks like an arsehole.
Yeah.
And wants to be intimidating even though he's an older person. So I chose someone who has that exact look and is a good actor. I went with Peter Capaldi.
I can confirm that we will not have a draw on this one.
Okay.
I think Capaldi would do that fantastic. He does have that look about him. He has that intimidation factor as well. He was the Doctor, for God's sake. I think he'd do it great. He's done some other shows that he's really famous for in the UK and anyway, that I just can't think of at the minute. But he's a great actor.
Yeah, okay.
I have no idea who he is. Even looking it up, I have no idea.
The Tick of It, that was the name of the show that he was in.
He was in Suicide Squad, the good Suicide Squad.
He was.
As well.
I went with kind of a bigger actor who's just kind of sitting around now doing little bits. I went with Steve Coogan here.
Alan Partridge.
Yeah.
I do love Alan Partridge. I'm a massive fan of Alan Partridge.
But he doesn't look like the intimidating guy.
That is what I was going to say.
Neither is Bill Nighy. Bill Nighy's the skinny fuck. He's just an angry man.
Yeah.
But he looks intimidating.
In no way does he's as frail as anything.
No, but I think I understand what Carl's saying. Not intimidating as in physically intimidating, but very domineering as in you are going to follow my rules or you are going to be cut off from your mother, sort of thing. And as much as I love Alan Partridge, and this might possibly be the issue with Steve Coogan, is that I cannot see Steve Coogan as anything except Alan Partridge anymore. This is the one I said to use both. There was one choice I was really happy with, and I think this is the one I have that I think both of you would probably have ceded to. It's the one I had the most trouble kind of going through. As a backup, I had John Hannah, who I think would be quite good. He plays, what's the name of his show where he's a doctor again? House.
I know John Hannah.
He played, he's the doctor in House. I think he comes across as, very opinionated, and you will listen to me or you won't. Now the person I went with, maybe
No, John Hannah. Sorry. Are you
John
thinking
Hannah's
of
not House.
John Hannah's not House?
Oh no, sorry. What am I thinking of him from then? I can't remember.
House is Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't remember.
John Hannah. He's in The Mummy, and
Yeah. Sorry, that's what.
And he's in Spartacus.
Yes, that's it. Sorry, yeah, he was my backup, but I went with someone who maybe doesn't come across as
Hugh Laurie wouldn't be a bad pick, actually.
Hugh Laurie wouldn't have been a bad pick. No, I went with somebody who is a big comedy name, although maybe doesn't come across as in that intimidating way that Carl was saying, but I think he's quite a big name in British comedy. Maybe not anywhere else. In Nicholas Lyndhurst, who is
he's so good, isn't he?
Dave. Yeah. From Only Fools and Horses. I think he could come across as being, he's old enough now that he could come across and be like, no, you are going to listen to me, and he's always kind of been the straight man to Del Boy's kind of, and even though he was the younger, obviously, in that, he was still the straight man of, no, Del, that's a terrible idea. A better head on his shoulders sort of thing.
True.
That's the one that I was really happy with when
he's a good pick.
Yeah. I don't know Peter Capaldi as well as I know Steve Coogan, but I am going to go with Peter Capaldi because Steve Coogan is just Alan Partridge to me. And
you think of his turn at the end, where he actually turns into a good guy, and like you've seen it from Alan Partridge, even when he was in Night at the Museum and stuff.
Yeah. Again, though, the problem with Alan Partridge is when I think of Alan Partridge, I can't think of Alan Partridge being serious and direct about confronting their stepson in the way that Philip does in this. And that's possibly just a bias on my end because I'm so used to him being Alan Partridge rather than anything else he's ever done. But no, I'll go with Carl there. We'll go with Barbara here, the mother.
Don't worry, Greg. You get your point back here. This is the one I wasn't 100% happy with.
Which tells me you've gone a major big actor here.
Kind of, yeah.
Go ahead, Greg. Who do you have?
Zoe wanted to rewatch Harry Potter, so I went with the auntie in this. I went with Fiona Shaw, who is Mrs. Dursley.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a decent one. I wouldn't have thought of her, but that is.
She was actually only in Andor as well.
Yeah, I haven't watched Andor yet, but yeah, no, that is a decent pick, and she's not a huge name either.
Yeah, I just had to put a name down here. I'm not happy with this point with this one at all. It's just definitely going to be 3-3. I went to Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with it.
I'll tell you that I'm not particularly happy with my pick either. I think she's a very, very good actress, and I think she could do this role very well. And she has taken on minor roles like this in recent years, and quite a big name. Kathy Sagal, but I don't know if she fits the role well enough either.
No.
And I just really couldn't think of anyone else. I was trying to think of women that age in comedies. And I was like, she's done comedy for years as that sort of character. So I just stuck her down. But no, Fiona Shaw's a fantastic pick there. So that's an easy one. So that levels us up again.
3-3.
3-3 into the final three here. It has to be Liz.
Yep.
Has to be Liz first.
Has to be Liz.
Yeah. So back to yourself, Sherlock. Who have you got?
I think if they were ever going to draw another one, it's going to be on this one. Kate Ashfield played this originally, and I went to Emilia Clarke.
It's not a draw then.
Okay. Emilia Clarke.
Saoirse Ronan.
Oh God, no! Emilia Clarke's a definite better pick than Saoirse Ronan there.
Absolutely, she is not.
Oh, she 100% is.
You literally argue you would not cast Emilia Clarke in anything, and you put her into the main female role.
In a serious role, I would not put Emilia Clarke in a comedy movie. Fine, because she doesn't have to be a serious actor. Saoirse Ronan.
She does no comedy in this at all. She just gives out.
She's a bit more straight in it, but no. Saoirse Ronan would not take this. She's way too big for it to be the side character. She's a way too big of an actress to be a side character.
No, you say that, but then
She's
see
the
how
second
they
main.
run. See how they run is a quite recent film, and she's the side character in that.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't.
She does
I wouldn't
nothing in
have,
this.
I didn't.
She does nothing in this movie though. She's
Well, then-
Saoirse Ronan literally takes these big roles, like she's all out there for women power and all that type of stuff. Saoirse Ronan does not take a role in which she literally does nothing.
Amelia
She's
Clarke
too
doesn't have that role either.
she's way too big. Amelia Clarke will take any job at the moment because she doesn't get anything at the moment. And anyway,
So
Saoirse Ronan
can we use
would
that
not.
point there that she doesn't get cast in anything anymore, and just give me the point here?
I'll tell you who I went with first anyway. This probably won't.
Saoirse Ronan's way too big.
This won't mean anything to Greg because he didn't watch it. But I went in betweeners again here. I had Emily Hurd, who is the girl that Joe Thomas spends his time chasing in Inbetweeners. I think she is not that big a name in the acting world. She's, she'd fit into this role where she's kind of, just a bit pissed off with everyone around her all the time.
Emily Hurd.
Emily Hurd, yeah, Herd.
Oh, no. I was going to say, I typed in Emily Hurd here and it brought up Amber Heard.
No.
Yeah. I have no idea who she is.
Sorry, not Emily Hurd. Emily Head, sorry, not Hurd. I just misread my own writing.
Look, I know here Saoirse Ronan is a better actress than Amelia Clarke. There's no debate about it. She just is a better actor. But Saoirse Ronan's not taking a role like this. She's just not. There's no, that's a big name.
I would argue that you're talking about bringing in British and Irish stars into a movie that they get right done.
I think you've both gone possibly a little bit too big here. I think both of those are too big. Amelia
I don't know
Clarke
who your one is that you picked.
Well, that's kind of the point, is what I'm saying. She'd be big.
I was going for a smaller actor. I wasn't going for someone that would be the lead and things, because she's not anymore.
You're also talking about who was the lead of Game of Thrones, arguably the biggest show ever made.
Yeah,
and you're arguing the point that
whose star has dropped significantly.
It hasn't. She's in quite a few things now at the moment.
She's also had a medical condition that stopped her.
I will say that as a backup, I had Emily Blunt, who again I think is somebody who isn't as big a name as either of the two of those.
She's definitely bigger than Amelia Clarke.
I don't think she is a bigger name than Amelia Clarke. I think your dislike of Amelia Clarke. Yeah. think that Amelia Clarke.
No, it's not that. Emily Blunt's just a huge name.
She is, but I think Amelia Clarke is just a much bigger name than you think she is. I think your dislike of her style of acting is just it blinds you a bit on her sometimes. I did have another backup though, and I was kind of thinking along the same lines as you, that she might be a bit too big, but I did see how they run with Saoirse Ronan taking a side role in that, and she was the other backup. So I am going to give that one to Greg because I don't think Amelia Clarke fits in there.
I've used her 3 times and I've never got her in yet.
Saoirse Ronan is the bad choice there.
I think Amelia Clarke's a bad choice there. I just don't think she fits that role particularly well either. But that puts Greg 1 up here. So Carl, you need to win or draw.
Yeah.
You need to win one of these.
Now your champion's advantage could be.
Well, he needs to win one. He needs to win one of these two. Is the thing
to force champion's advantage.
Now, before we go into either of these two, I'll tell you that neither of my picks are British actors here. So that may or may not bode well for either of you.
I know I went British all the way through, so
well, Greg might have as well because he said he did something similar, but neither of mine here are. So we go Ed. Obviously,
I would have made it a lot easier not to.
Yeah, we go Ed here, obviously, because called Shaun of the Dead, so Shaun's your main actor. So it goes to Greg first here. Who do you have as your Ed?
Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things. The Stoner brother.
Okay.
The one I was thinking was your man from Game of Thrones, but I couldn't remember who he was or who he played. The little fat lad.
Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could be.
That's who I was thinking, and I couldn't. I looked up and just couldn't picture the image, and I couldn't remember what he looked like. Just remember he was a little fat lad and he was English.
Yeah. I had a couple of choices for this one. One of my choices was Harry Melling, who played Dudley Dursley in the Harry Potters, but he has slimmed right the way down, all that stuff.
He has slimmed.
You know, another one I went with was, you know, if we're modernizing it, it's been made today, it might not just be. I went with Mo Gilligan. He's a comedian.
I do know Mo. Yeah.
So he was another backup.
He's too muscly though.
Yeah, so that's what kind of ruled him out of it. But my choice was John Bradley, who was Sam in Game of Thrones.
I couldn't remember what he looked like, really. I just remember he was a little small fat lad. And I'm looking at the images going, who the fuck is he? I even Googled little small fat people in Game of Thrones.
I think he's not little either. He's actually quite tall as well. He's not small.
Maybe that's why he didn't come up.
I will tell you that I don't know, did it occur to either of you when you were doing this? Because when we said we were doing this, the first two names that came to my head for Shaun and Ed, even though one of them has slimmed right down, were Jonah Hill and Michael Cera. Those were the first two names. I didn't go with them, I will tell you that. But
it didn't because I was focused on it.
I did think about them.
I was focusing on a UK cast, so I didn't.
No, I do understand that, but the first names before I even thought about UK cast, I just said, do you know who does a skinny guy, fat guy combination quite well as a comedy duo? Yeah. Jonah Hill and Michael Cera. But Jonah Hill has obviously slimmed down quite a bit, and Michael Cera.
I think he's put it back on.
He has, but not to the extent. He's bigger, but not.
Of course,
he's not big anymore. And Michael Cera is not Shaun. He's just not. No. So I'll tell you who I went with. It wasn't, as I said, I didn't go with English actors here. I had Paul Walter Hausen in here.
Paul Walter Hausen, yeah. I would have gone with him if I was using American.
I just said, listen, I'll just go with him here. I think he fits the role very, very well. Based on your two picks. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Jonah Hill was my American pick.
Yeah, and I think he's the easy American pick, isn't he? And I did have him as a backup as there. Between the two picks that you boys had, Greg, unfortunately not being able to remember somebody's name has cost you dearly here, because he's definitely better than Charlie Heaton.
Absolutely.
For this role.
I'm quite happy with that
one. John Bradley takes that one. So it comes down to the final one. Carl
needs a
draw. Greg needs a win.
What was that fella's name? John Bradley.
John Bradley, yeah.
Now, I don't know how his star is doing now at the moment after his last fiasco, but Moonfall was quite poor, but it was fine, but it wasn't very good. So it's down to the final one. The named character, Shaun. So
Simon Pegg, the legend himself.
Back to our champion for the final one. All he needs is a draw. He just needs to not lose. That's it. All he has to do is not lose to continue on.
It's probably not going to happen, but however. I literally went with someone who was I have 4 people here, 3 backups. And all of them they're between the 31 to 35, 36 age range, which Simon Pegg was 33 at the time.
Yep.
My first pick was, and I think
this is a backup, is it? Sorry.
Yeah, this is a backup. Yeah. If it was being made today, I could see him getting the role, even though I don't think he's completely right for it. I had Jack Whitehall.
Yeah. I think he's too comedy.
Funny.
But I think if it was being remade today, they'd give it to him.
They probably would give it to him, but he'd be the wrong.
Yeah.
He's the wrong.
He's actually becoming a decent actor now. To be fair,
he's not bad.
But he's the wrong type of funny for this. I think. You know what I mean?
This was a snarky kind of funny.
Yes.
Yeah. I would put someone down here that I was playing the game because I knew Ted was the judge. I don't think he's right for the role. I had Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have liked Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
I'm playing the game here. I put him as my backup.
No, well, Nicholas Hoult is a favourite of mine, but I wouldn't have liked him in this role.
Up until quite recently, I had this person down. I had Thomas Brody Sangster down.
Yeah, another person I've used a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah. But my pick was Aaron. No, he's 33.
He looks about 15, but he's in his 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, but my pick was Aaron Taylor-Johnson
from Kick-Ass
and Bullet Train.
Yeah.
I think he, especially Bullet Train. I think he really showed off his comedy chops in that.
Yeah, Greg, you really need to watch Bullet Train. By the
way.
Oh
yes, you do.
Because not just for him, but you're always trying to get Brian Tyree Henry into things.
Who?
Are you not always trying to get Brian Tyree Henry into things? Somebody tried to get him.
John David Washington.
Somebody tried to get Brian Tyree Henry into things a few times. Well,
I did before.
Yeah, he's
great
in well.
He's great in that.
Yeah. You do what you. Bullet Train got slammed in reviews, but it's fucking deadly. I don't know why it got slammed.
Where's it? I can tell you here now at the time of recording this, where it is on my list.
I have it on my list, but I can't remember. But I really enjoyed it.
Because I don't know if all the fans here know, we do have an end of the year special in which we've all been keeping track of all the films we've watched, new films this year, and we're gonna get an aggregate score and find our top 10 of the year, or the Retrotainment Recast top 10 of the year. But Bullet Train
is number 1 anyway.
Yeah.
So far, yeah. Bullet Train is number 7 on my list.
Oh, it's close.
It's mine. It's relatively high on my list as well. Yeah, I can't remember exactly where it is, but it is high. Greg, who do you have here?
I only had one name, and it's keeping in line with a couple of the other picks that we have. It's from Harry Potter. I went with Daniel Radcliffe because Aaron Taylor-Johnson's a bit too big. Like Simon Pegg's not huge in this. Aaron Taylor-Johnson is huge.
He's not. He's fucking
huge.
Depending on the clothes you put on, he doesn't look huge in Bullet Train.
Yeah, he looked quite weedy.
I haven't seen Bullet Train, but he is huge.
It depends on the costume.
Simon Pegg's wearing a shirt and trousers in this.
Well,
that can't slim you down. That does not slim you down and make you any smaller, even if you put a bigger size on. They sit drinking cans and eat sweets all day.
That's what he does in Bullet Train.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I don't think Daniel Radcliffe's the right player.
I'll tell you who I had. Again, I didn't go with a British actor here. I went Superbad, but I obviously didn't go Michael Cera. I didn't go Jonah Hill. I went Christopher Mintz-Plasse. I think him and Paul Walter Hauser together, I think they would work quite well. Yeah, and it's the McLovin, he shouldn't be as confident as he is in himself, but is just for some reason uber confident in himself, which is exactly what Shaun is. He's super confident about like, oh no, I do treat my girlfriend really well. And it's just like, no, all you do is bring her to the pub with your best friend who just, talks shite the whole time. And you're just like, yeah, he fits there. Obviously not an English actor. So that's obviously why neither of you boys thought that.
Yes.
This one is tough for me because I do love Daniel Radcliffe as an actor.
I mean, it's a role where he's sitting drinking cans all day. Like Aaron Taylor, you don't be in that shape that Aaron Taylor-Johnson's in, sitting drinking cans all day and going to work and coming home and staying up till 4 in the morning drinking. No, there's no chance.
I don't know. Ric Flair stayed in pretty good shape.
Ric Flair's doing every drug under the planet.
So are they.
And he's riding every single person on the planet. I don't see it. He's too big.
He doesn't look it though. That's the thing. He might look it when you take the top off, but
shall I bring up a live picture of him?
Yeah. I know he's a built guy, but he doesn't look it in movies, And he
definitely does.
I know you haven't seen it, but I refer back to Bullet Train. He doesn't look like he's a big guy. He really doesn't.
Well, put it this way: every other movie he's in, he looks fucking huge.
Doesn't look big and kick-ass at all.
What was he, 12?
This one's actually tougher.
I don't see it. I really don't see it. Whatever about arguing the point.
If you saw Bullet Train, you would.
guess what? I haven't seen Bullet Train, and I'm still arguing the point. I don't think you get that big by sitting drinking cans and going to the pub every night, eating crisps and cornettos. Sorry, I don't see it.
The thing with Daniel Radcliffe is, I don't know how funny Daniel Radcliffe is in that sense. I think he can do little bits of comedy, but I don't know if he's the lead role in a comedy.
Well, let's be fair. The comedy version of this comes from Nick Frost.
Oh,
No, but
not necessarily.
Simon Pegg is quite funny in this as well. Like,
no, I absolutely, and Aaron Taylor Johnson definitely isn't. And
oh no, he's very funny.
He's very funny in Bullet Train.
He has Bullet Train. He has Kick-Ass. Like that's 2 comedy movies that he's.
And he didn't do any of the comedy really for Kick-Ass. He got his ass whooped,
which was funny.
That's not him being funny though.
He has funny lines in it too.
He's. I know you're going to keep saying refer to Bullet Train, but he's far too big.
I think, unfortunately, Greg, I think you not seeing Bullet Train is what's hurting you here. I don't see. I love Daniel Radcliffe, but I just don't see him as the lead in a comedy film in this sense. The way this is, I just don't see him in that role. So I am going to give that one to Carl.
You're talking about him being twice the size of Ed as well now, who's bigger than him.
Ed is
fucking jacked.
Yeah, but it doesn't. And again, it could just be because of Bullet Train, but it doesn't come across like that in Bullet Train.
Where's that picture I have of him?
You can send whatever picture you want of him. Like in Bullet Train, he doesn't come across that way. Like he doesn't come across as tiny, but he doesn't come across as
absolutely jacked.
Yeah, I mean, look up Daniel Radcliffe. Look up Daniel Radcliffe. Well, like. Look up Daniel Radcliffe on the beach. Look him up on the beach. He's pretty jacked as well. Like, it's not like Daniel Radcliffe isn't in shape as well. Considering they were talking that Daniel Radcliffe could play the new Wolverine at one point. It's not like that he's not.
Who said that? Oh, that was in the multiverse, wasn't it?
No.
Like there was serious talks about
it.
The new Wolverine because Hugh Jackman said he wasn't coming back.
Right, lads. He looks small in Bullet Train, yeah. Get a grip. Get an absolute grip.
No,
he's fucking jacked. Look at the veins coming out of his arms and everything.
No, I am going to go with Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he can carry the comedy part of the role better than Daniel Radcliffe can. I think Daniel Radcliffe is very good, but I don't think Daniel Radcliffe carries a comedy-centric role as the main character.
I mean, did you watch Horns?
No.
It's pretty much the same kind of humor as this.
Haven't seen it.
It's pretty much a comedy horror movie, exactly like this, where he plays the devil.
I haven't seen it, and like maybe my opinion will change massively when Weird Al comes out.
I won't be watching that.
Oh, I'll definitely be watching that. It sounds deadly.
I have zero interest. I don't think Weird Al's that good. I have no interest.
Oh, I love Weird Al. But anyway, Carl continues on. So what's our next film going to be then, Greg?
The Mummy. Brendan Fraser.
Carl doesn't look too happy. So it's me versus Sherlock with the king jumping in as the judge here for The Mummy.
Have fun with that.
That is a tough one.
I just realized if I win, it's a triple threat between you guys.
No, you have to be king again.
I don't have to be king again.
You have to retain against the three of us before it's a triple threat. Yeah.
Fair. But oh my god, I defended.
You did.
Oh my god.
Maybe some people will dispute, but
I know Greg will.
Bullet Train is probably what is selling me on that. And
I was so happy when I mentioned earlier on this evening that about Bullet Train, and you said you saw it. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Not to give away anything for an earlier episode, but you mentioned Aaron Taylor Johnson in a discussion earlier, and I said, how the fuck did he think of Aaron Taylor Johnson? And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, that must be where he's thought of that. But that's it for this week. Don't forget to like, share, all that good stuff on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all of that. And until next week, good luck.